Chiefs offense versus the Eagles defense. We'll kind of start looking more closely at the Chiefs offense here, and we'll start it the same way we did the last one. What is the biggest potential advantage that Patrick Mahomes and that offense, Travis Kelce, has over a very good Eagles defense? How can they exploit them?
All right. I think, the Eagles defense is really good.
Right.
I think the first thing I'm going to look at is just that I think this is one of the few teams all year, or at least the second half of the year, where I go, the Eagles aren't necessarily going to run over this group pass protecting. They're not just going to, he's going to have some time to throw every now and then.
That's been the biggest advantage the Eagles have had on basically every team they've played all year.
No doubt about it. And then they're creative with their pressures off of that. And to me, that's a little bit where, evens the scales out. There's no question the Eagles are the better team in this matchup. I'm not saying this by a huge matchup, but the Eagles are better. If we went through position by position like we like to do a lot, we're going to take the Eagles, a lot more Eagles than the Chiefs. There's no disrespect there. The Chiefs are still awesome, right? This is where a great quarterback comes into play, because I would have told you in 2019 that 49ers were definitely better than the Chiefs. But that Red wearing 1 and 5, he tips the scales in one direction in a hurry, and all of a sudden you go, damn, it seems like that team in Red's better. I don't know. And it's like, no, he's just awesome, all right? But they're better than, I think, throughout as a full team, maybe than that 2019 team. Their O-line, I think, is definitely better. Okay, I'll say that. And I do think with their O-line, their ability to pass protect, and then 2 weeks with Andy Reid figuring out how to block all the stuff, I think is going to be huge in this football game, at least for the Chiefs to, even the scales here a little bit, where that's usually a huge advantage. They need to figure out, I can't leave Tyler Kroft on Hassan Reddick on a third down, right? And then have my quarterback's elbow break and we lose the game, right? That I bet you that doesn't happen in this game. I bet you they're going to go back and go, wait, we're going to find it to get our big people on their big people, and our tight ends and backs will block their safeties and linebackers when they blitz. But they're not going to be blocking one of the 5 best pass rushers in football with Travis Kelce. I can promise you that. So that, to me, is one area that does give the Chiefs a legitimate fighting chance, and the fact that you can look at it and go, the Eagles' D-line isn't going to ruin this game against this crew here.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is the biggest advantage. But there's no advantage to where I go, oh my gosh, if the Eagles don't do this, they're screwed, right? Kind of like we said on the other side. Yeah, I think there's more the Chiefs have to do in this matchup than the Eagles have to do in this matchup.
What do you think the Chiefs do? And we don't know exactly how mobile Patrick Mahomes will be, but we have to assume it'll be better than what we saw against the Bengals.
I would think so.
But you noted in your notes that the Chiefs did do some things to try to protect him a little bit more than maybe they would have if he was completely healthy.
Definitely. The more max protection, more keep a tight end, keep 2 tight ends in.
Yeah. Do you think they'll keep doing that in the Super Bowl?
I think they'll do it a little bit. I do. I think you got to have some plays like that where you just go, hey, wait, let's just keep some guys in and block, and make not everybody have to think and all that, and not make Mahomes have to think about who's protected, so he can just drop back and assess what's going on downfield, feel comfortable, and be aggressive. I still think they need to do that more. They had 2 big pass plays down the field of Valdez-Scantling where they were along those lines. It's something that is missing in their offense, and they're going to get those opportunities. Again, I think the Eagles' defense and the way they play, some of these, they're going to look at it in film and go, wait, yeah, we like to throw this 8-yard play over here, but man, it's going to be tough. These guys are daring us to throw the ball by them. We got to throw it by them. They dare you at times. So that's where I do think that's part of the game plan, let alone some of the sprint outs that you saw, right? Like the touchdown on 4th down, and there was a few other sprint outs where they kept people in. Hey, just roll out. We're going to have 2 or 3 guys here, right? Gives the offensive line kind of a play off to a degree, makes him feel good, gives it a different look, boom, easy completion, blah, blah, blah. I guess that would be, I definitely would think a part of it.
The health of the Chiefs will be a huge story all week long leading up to the Super Bowl, and I don't know if we made a big enough deal about it in the championship games and how difficult the Chiefs had it, because I was looking at the snap count for the game. Juju played 45% of the snaps. Marcus Kemp played 32% of the snaps for the Chiefs.
Right.
Wide receiver, if in case you're not familiar with Marcus Kemp, who played 10 snaps all year long and then played 22 in that game. Mecole Hardman, 22% of the snap. Kadarius Toney, 6% of the snaps. And that one might be the biggest one for the Chiefs coming up in this game.
Agreed. I'm glad you led me down that road. Of course, they got to be healthy up there. Not that all of them got to be healthy. Not every one of them, but they need at least 3 or 4 of them to be healthy.
Yeah.
It can't be what we saw. Again, we kind of got away from that conversation. I mean, that's again what was amazing about the other night. They were dropping like flies. They had guys in the game where you're going, are you kidding me? They got to do it with this group against this defense?
3 tight ends at times.
Yeah,
right?
I know. It's unbelievable. So, they certainly and I would think part of the line kind of swaying back to the Chiefs a little bit is Vegas is hearing some good reports about the health. I don't think any of their injuries are true serious ones. Toney is the one I am concerned about. He jammed his ankle in there pretty good. He rolled it the traditional way, right? He was trying to make a cut and it rolled on him. But he, to me, and I know this is what stinks about that game last week, he was going to be the X factor. He was going to be the guy, almost like Odell against the Bengals in the Super Bowl, where you went, uh-oh, the Bengals got answers for everything, but they can't quite, not with this guy here at this spot. Now they're in a tough spot. And to me, it looked like he was going to be a focal point of the game plan. They need him. They do. Again, because the Eagles are going to play 5-man fronts. They're going to do that. They're going to pressure you at times. They're going to play man-to-man and try to smother you that way. And he is by far their most dangerous guy in that department. He is the one guy that can get by jam coverage and explode by you, and you're like, oh, shit, he's gone. I'm in trouble. He's definitely their best weapon in that department. They need those guys to be healthy. There's no question about that.
MVS, a deep ball threat for them as well, played a huge part in the game against the Bengals. Compass Traveler says to you, can you explain a little bit about defensive rules on the MVS touchdown in the championship game? I feel like Jesse Bates took the wrong decision, leaving Mike Hilton exposed.
Yeah. All right. So this is a very good conversation here, and if
the Eagles are watching the tape and figuring out how to prevent this from happening to them.
Well, it's a good play, and I'm actually going to try to bring it up here. You know how I like to do with you, and so we can watch it together. All right. So I'll bring it up. I'll get to it here in a second.
So you and I can watch it together while
we'll
the
explain
homies
it.
Just have to.
But
listen.
No, it's a really good question by our listener here, and the biggest thing too, one is it's not Jesse Bates' fault. That's the first thing I want to tell you. Okay, so it's a good play that Kansas City runs. Here's the play. I'm bringing it up. All right. So Ahmed, you could see it's a 4-man front. Right. They're playing man-to-man. They're doubling Kelsey on the top of the screen. See that, right? So they got 2 guys on him, right? Everybody else is man-to-man. Valdez-Scantling's going to run the outside post, who Mike Hilton's on. He's eventually going to score the touchdown, right? You see Sky Moore is going to run the inside post, right? So there's a free safety in the middle of the field. Look at Jesse Bates' eyes, right? You see him looking up this guy, right? Because he's going, wait, it's the Chiefs. Ahmed and Chris talk about it all year. You got to defend crossers when they. So I've been listening to the pod, and I'm ready for the crossers, right? So here he is. He's ready for the crosser. Now, when he crosses, this is something the Bengals do on a regular basis. Cam Taylor-Britt, he's got to take over Jesse Bates' job. So when he gets to this point right here, as he's starting to cross the hash, Cam Taylor-Britt's got to go, wait, Jesse Bates is there. He's going to cut him off. I need to fall back and be right here. And really, if he drops off right here, he's going to be right in the lane of where Mahomes is throwing. So, again, I wish we could all see this on film. I think we might put it on social a little later.
Let's do that.
Right? But you can kind of see it from this angle, too. The end zone is like right here, he's got to be falling off to where he'd be in this area, and he'd be in the general area. I don't know if he breaks it up, but it would have been a little cloudier for Mahomes. But in my assessment there, yes, that was Cam Taylor-Britt not coming off in quite enough of a hurry.
Lip smackling good on the same lines of MVS. How much after the Chiefs going to lean on MVS? I think he means how much are the Chiefs going to lean on MVS?
Yeah.
What can they scheme up with him and the screen game to mitigate that pass rush?
This is screen game will be crucial, as we've talked about. Even when they played them last year early in the year, some of the wide receiver screen game was big. as we assessed a minute ago.
Yes.
I think with Tony and MVS, those are guys where he's like, you can't let them go, oh, Bradbury and Slayer bump man-to-man for the 12th play in a row. You got Patrick Mahomes and you're the Kansas City Chiefs. If you don't attack their ass and throw the ball down the field on that, then damn, I'll be mad at you. I will. So it's that, and it's. I don't even know if it necessarily needs a lot of scheming there. Now, there was something else I was going to say off of that. Oh, here's the other element that I don't know and I'm interested by. And again, we hit on this. The Eagles, they weren't the same in that matchup last year. I mean, Josh Sweat wasn't a thing yet. Now he's one of the better pass rushers in football. Hassan Reddick wasn't there, right? The two middle linebackers, they're different now. They're not. Last year, I think it was Singleton and I can't even remember the other guy's name. But either way, now it's T.J. Edwards and because you're right, they're damn good players. So it's just a different look altogether. But like Fletcher Cox and Hargrave were there, right? Brandon Graham was there. Like, the Chiefs ran the ball on the Eagles. And we know this has been a little issue with the Eagles. And I do think there's something to be had there. The Eagles are not as good at stopping the run as the Bengals are. That's what I wanted to say there.
Yeah, Alex Gymnast is going to lead you down where you were already leading yourself.
Okay.
But he goes, Isaiah Pacheco couldn't get going. Was that due to the Bengals D-line or the Chiefs O-line?
No, it was more the Bengals D-line.
Okay.
That Bengals D-line's real. They really are. And you've heard, we've talked about DJ Reader a lot over the last 2 years.
Yes.
He's premier run-stopping D-tackle in football. The Eagles don't have a run-stopping D-tackle like him. No. And Fletcher Cox, I love him. I mean, he's an all-time Chris Simms Hall of Famer, right? I think he is a Hall of Famer, period. But at this point of his career, no, he's not that anymore. Hargrave, big body, but actually a better interior pass rusher than run stopper, in my opinion. So I think there could be some opportunities here. Again, and I think that's where it could be interesting too, because this is where the Eagles, who, I would against Mahomes would probably go, I'd rather not play 5-man fronts as much as we usually do against him, right? I'd rather have that one extra guy with us to spy him or just drop in the zone here or double that guy, right? That's what you realistically like. But if they run the ball with a little success, I think that could scare Philly, and then that can give them some looks of going, yeah, okay, we got to pass protect against these 5 guys, but we got one less guy to worry about in passing lanes down the field, and that's where it could become dangerous.
There was something you noted in your film review that I had seen on Twitter a couple days prior.
Okay. Damn.
Actually,
beat me?
the 49ers game. You're both thinking the same way. This is good. It was a very smart person on Twitter about motion. And the Eagles' defense dealing with the pre-snap motion and maybe shifts and motion at the snap.
Right.
That's given them trouble throughout the year. Is that something that the Chiefs can exploit? They do a bit of that. Of course, they always have during Andy Reid's time there.
Yeah.
Could that be an advantage for the Chiefs in this game?
I think it can be. I mean, that's where the Chiefs can get very creative. And because the Eagles, which, well documented, we kind of dissected them last year. We're like, yeah, you're too simple. Everybody's tearing you apart. And Jonathan Gannon heard that and made corrections and has made them a more dangerous defense. But within that too, usually what that means is, hey, we're in this call when they're in this formation. But wait, they motioned over to this and they do different stuff. So I don't want to be in that call anymore. We're going to switch to this other defense that we've packaged with this, right? And that's where, in the 49er game and other games throughout the year, yeah, I've seen it to where there's communication and people are still talking and you're like, wait, the ball snap, guys. You got to go get the guy with the ball here. You're still talking or you're still trying to figure out the rules. And that to me is, without a doubt, with a defense that does as much as they do, and again, they're physically gifted, those are the little things you got to do in this game just to hopefully slow them down just a little bit or get them talking just a little bit to give yourself an advantage. And I think that's where, again, 2 weeks with Andy and figuring some of those things out, I think will come in handy. If this was 1 week preparation, I go Eagles are going to win the game. It's they're Super Bowl champs. I'll tell you that right now. If it was 1 week, I'd go. But 2 weeks, the extra time and all of that, and then of course them getting to get healthy, it does. I think sways it to Kansas City. Kansas City's the team that needs more time in this matchup. They're the ones that's going to have to, I think, go outside the box a little bit more from what they normally do than vice versa.
So scheming up open receivers is something that the Chiefs have done. Andy Reid has done.
Yeah.
They did it at times in the Bengals game, in the championship game, but usually when the receiver's open, they'll make those plays. You did notice a few times where, the Chiefs, I don't know if it's the ankle or whatever, like Patrick Mahomes, they were messing up some plays, and you noted in your notes, you go, they won't be able to do this in the Super Bowl and still win.
No, like they're up 13-3. Joe Burrow just throws the interception. Like, he's got Sky Moore running a shallow cross. There should be an 8-yard gain, at least for an easier field goal. He missed the throw. Like, he can't do that shit in this game. You can't do it. You're not going to win the Super Bowl if you miss that. You got to go up 16-3 there or 20-3, right? That would be the big thing. Or think about later in the game. He missed a curl route one time to Sky Moore because I don't think he could really push with his back leg at some moments. So he was kind of on the front leg. He kind of threw it in the ground, if you remember, and Sky Moore tried to dive and catch it. He had the 3rd and 8, maybe the drive before the last drive of the game where they got the game-winning field goal. He's got the Marquez Valdez-Scantling going over the middle. I mean, it's going to be a big play. And he throws it behind him. Incompletion, they got to punt the ball back. So those are they're going to get some of those. They got to be maximized. Again, the Eagles are the better team. They got to hit those plays, make the big plays. I have faith in this kind of moment that Mahomes will be on his A game and feeling healthier. But, they can't miss those opportunities.
If the Eagles defense is going to win this matchup, what's the most likely way that happens? That the Chiefs offensive line, as good as it is, can't slow down the pass rush of the Eagles? Is that it?
I think the thing I will look at is if the Eagles, early in the game, are in their 4-man front and they're winning that way, the game's over. They're not going to win. They might make it close or whatever, but they're not going to win. If it has to go into, it's 4-man front and he's got time and he's kind of picking them apart, and shit, here goes Pacheco up the middle, then I'm going to go, this game's going to be interesting. Eagles are better, but Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they got 15 at quarterback, and he's going to make this thing interesting. Because now they're in a 5-man front, and the coverages like we talked about, that becomes scarier. 5-man front, the screen game becomes scarier, right? 5-man front, he escaped out of the pass rush, and now he's outside, and you got one less guy in coverage, right? That's, to me, where, and again, maybe I'll come back with more thoughts of this as the week goes on here, and I get to digest it a little bit more, but that's my first initial thought.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.